Hey, shalom to the hopeful elect. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone who teach the truth and rule well. This is the brother Yatabia Wa'ala coming back from the GMS SF Bay Area camp. And I got a quick lesson today. All right, Lord's will is edifying. Just going into prophecy, all right, and the significance of prophecy. All right, I was watching Apostle Tar's lesson and caught a little bit of that debate that was going on between Captain Tazariak and Sam Sahun, whatever his name is. But when you watch it, there's literally no edification being brought out. All right, and they're arguing over whether Yahweh Shai is the Most High or not, which the scriptures say what it says. All right, Yahweh Shai is a separate entity from the Most High Yahweh. All right, and you go on these platforms. You have the bugged out Christians. They're gonna believe what they want to believe, like Apostle Tahar says all the time. You're not convincing anybody. All right, nobody's being edified. Nobody's waking up. All right, the Christians are gonna stay what they want to believe, and those who believe what Captain Tazariak was saying or follow Captain Tazariak, they're gonna believe what he believes. All right, but nonetheless, with all that going on, there's no talk of prophecy. All right, there's no warning of the people. All right, there's no edification. There's no comfort of what's coming. Okay, and that's our job. All right, the scriptures say, give our people warning from the Most High. Warning from what? What's going on? You have Jacob's trouble speaking right now. All right, World War III about to pop off. You have the MOTB about to be implemented, and ISCBK is known to butcher the MOTB. They don't bring out what it is. All right, sleeping with white women, all right, or whatever they say now. But again, prophecy is where it's at. Okay, prophecy is what the elect needs. All right, to know what the hell's going on. All right, but let me just start with this. This is 1 Corinthians 14:1. It says, and the subheading is prophecy, a superior gift. It says, follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that you may prophesy. And that's the point. All right, one of the greatest gifts is to prophesy, to know what's going on. All right, and it's actually commanded, which, let me grab that real quick. Oops. Let me go over here. Second Ezra's. Well, here's a good one too. Actually, let me get it. I'm already here. Second Ezra's 15:1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." And again, this is what we're commanded to do. All right. Why is prophecy so important? It lets us know where we're at. All right. It lets us know to prepare our mind. Okay, hey, we know we're at the end. All right, we know that, the last couple prophecies that have to come to pass. All right, hey, persecution, that's prophecy. Jacob's trouble, that's prophecy. Hour of temptation, that's prophecy. World War III, prophecy. All right, hey, Esau coming down with great wrath, that's prophecy. All right, it says in verse 2, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. And this is why, you going on those debates and debating just things that as of right now aren't important. All right. Again, the scriptures, yes, say that Yahweh Shai is separate than the Most High. Yahweh, that's plain. So if the Christians don't want to believe that, hey, it is what it is. We're moving on. Now what? Now what do you want to do? Because that's what it's all about. It's just clout, money, whatever the case. Nah, it's pushing prophecy. All right. What's going on? You got ICE, a snatching people up. It's not just immigrants anymore. All right, killing white women. All right, which seems like a big psyop, but nonetheless, hey. You have things coming out now that ICE is just, they don't care if you have papers, which is, basically what they were set up from the beginning to do. Coming after Gad, all right? This is the times we're living in, but you have no warning of this. You want to debate, things that, just it's of no effect right now. All right. But it says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. And again, this is what we're warning our people about. All right. This is why it's important to send these things out. All right. So the elect, because that's the only ones who are going to listen, know what's going on. Sword, famine, death, and destruction. There's a lot of death that's going to be going out. And the scriptures say that the time that's coming is a time that's never been. All right. That's how much chaos is going to be going on in the world. But here it is, you have leaders of our groups, and even those so-called Christians, they're bugged the hell out. They are not going into prophecy, And that's what's most important right now. All right. But I wanted to grab this in 2 Ezra 9 and verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So you measure the times, as prophets, as teachers, when we measure the times, what do? We filter it out through the scriptures. Filter what? The current events. What's going on in the world? You filter it out, and what? That's this prophecy. That's that prophecy. Ezekiel 37, Isaiah 47, 2 Ezra 15, 2 Ezra 16. All right. Whatever the case may be. So the elect know what time it is. All right. Verse 2. This is the point. Then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So the Lord is visiting this place. Now, if you're not pushing prophecy, you're not warning the flock of what's to come. You're not comforting them, all right, as these things come, because you're not pushing prophecy. Well, then what are you doing? All right, you're part of that blind leading the blind. You're not letting the flock know what's going on. All right. And let me jump back. Verse 1 Corinthians 14:1, it says, follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts, but rather that ye may prophesy. So prophecy is one of the best gifts that you can have. Okay. And what is prophecy? It simply means to say before. All right. These scriptures, the things that are written, the prophecies that are written, they're written before, some thousands of years ago. All right. But they're written what? To happen in future. And we're actually living in that time right now. Verse 2, for he that speaketh in an unknown tongue speaketh not unto men, but unto the Most High, for no man understandeth him. Howbeit in the spirit he speaketh mysteries. But he that prophesieth speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. And that's the point. All right. When you hear about the things going on, you're being built up because there's a mindset that goes behind it. All right. You're exhorted. You're comforted because, hey, we talk about famines. All right. We talk about, pure hell. We talk about persecution. But then what? We bring out the other precepts, the balance to it, to show what? That the Lord is going to be with us every step of the way. All right, 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, the Lord won't put us through more than we can handle. All right, and my servants shall eat. They shall be merry and have abundance. Okay, or be when you're put in the prisons, be thou faithful. Okay, what is it? 10 days, roughly paraphrasing. The Lord shall fight for thee, which represents a period of time, and ultimately what? Strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for you. Just that comfort. Okay, Acts 14:22, which let me grab that because that's part of the comfort. Okay, just to balance it out. And again, this is what the majority of these groups, all right, and hey, the so-called Christians for sure are not going into. All right, Acts 14:22, it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them, right, to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. You don't ever hear any of these groups talking about tribulation. And you for damn sure don't hear about Christians talking about tribulation. They're not talking about a persecution. All right. They're not talking about an hour of temptation. Okay. They're not talking about a time where we're going to have to be pilgrims on the earth. That's primarily the prophets, the true prophets' job to do. Okay. And jumping back it says, verse 3 again, but he that prophesies speaketh unto men to edification and exhortation and comfort. And that's what it's about. Exhortation, edification, and comfort. So the elect are ready. It says, verse 4, he that speaketh in an unknown tongue edifieth himself, but he that prophesieth edifieth the church. And that's what it's about, edifying the church, edifying the flock. I would that ye all speak with tongues, but rather that ye prophesy. So it's a beautiful thing, that if you can speak in a different language. But what's the most important thing? Prophecy. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues, except he interpret that the church may receive edifying. All right. So again, prophecy is where it's at. All right. Now, brethren, verse 6, if I come unto you speaking with tongues, what shall I profit you, except I shall speak to you either by revelation or by knowledge or by prophesying or by doctrine, and even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds, how shall it be known what is piped or harped? For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? So likewise, ye except ye utter by the tongue words easy to be understood, how shall be it known what is spoken? For you shall speak it into the air. All right. And again, this goes into really, interpreting what you're saying, if you're speaking in another language. All right. But ultimately, we want to pipe that correct sound of what's going on. All right. There's a season for everything. All right. And the season right now is what? Prophecy, specifically end time prophecy. And we're trying to what? We're trying to prepare the flock for the battle. All right. By way of what? Comforting, by way of exhorting, by way of warning. Okay. Now let me jump over here. Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 1. And it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof. So if you're meditating in these scriptures, all right, if you actually believe in them, this is the point. It says, we'll seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies. You're going to look for understanding. You're going to look for wisdom. You're going to attain these things, and you're going to be occupied in prophecy. Okay? Because again, prophecy tells us what times we're at. All right? By measuring the times, by breaking it down, we can see, hey, Esau doesn't have that much longer. We can see that the chip is about to be implemented, and the chip is the MOTB. All right? And that's what it's all about. So what? So we can be stable. So we know exactly what the hell is going on. Isaiah 33 and 6. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Being stable. All right. Having that sure foundation. Knowing what's going on. Because if you don't know prophecy, you don't know what's going on. Scriptures say where there is no vision, the people perish. When you have no comfort, for example, you don't know that the CIP is the MOTB. How do you know not to take it? All right. When Esau is telling you, oh, this is the only way to go, you have to take this CHIP. That's the only way you're going to eat. How do you know that it's not, we're not to take it? How do you know you're going to be comforted? How do you know you're going to have food? Well, you read the scriptures. All right. First and foremost, you break down Revelation 13 the right way. And that'll tell you that the CHIP is the MOTB. Revelation 14 tells you the punishment going to those who take that MOTB. But then you go to the other precepts that let you know that, hey, the Lord will keep you from that hour of temptation. As long as you've kept that word of his patience, what does it say? He'll keep you from that hour of temptation. So we trust the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai to give us the food. We don't rely on Esau anymore. All right. We don't believe his lies. Okay, and that's what makes you stable. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength is the salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. All right, and ultimately that's our main treasure, is to fear the Lord. Fearing the Lord is doing what he says. Okay, because when you fear the Lord, you're going to do what he says. All right. And let me get this. I'll probably end off on this. This is Revelation 19 and 10. And I bring this out all the time. All right. To show you, this is what the scriptures are about. All right. Specifically in this time right now. This is what we're all to be in. And we just read it, in Sirach, the 39th chapter. Okay. Hey, you're going to be occupied in prophecies because you're going to want to get the hell up out of here. Are you believing the promises, right? The prophecy of the kingdom being established? Well, wouldn't you look at the other ones to let us measure and know the times leading up to the kingdom? All right. Revelation 19:10, it says, and I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua. And this is John the Revelator, bound down to the angel. But the angel saying, don't do it. I'm a fellow brethren. I just have the testimony of Yahushua, which is what? Worship the Most High, Yahweh. For the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. All right. And again, this is the testimony of Yahushua. Well, he fulfilled prophecy when he was here, right? He fulfilled prophecy. All right. He was the sacrificed for us to enter into the new covenant, which is another prophecy that hasn't been fulfilled yet. All right. The full fulfillment hasn't been fulfilled yet. The sacrifice has been made, but the new bodies aren't here yet. All right. The kingdom. Hey, the kingdom is nigh, letting us know that the kingdom is coming. All right. How to get right, how to be comforted in these times when you see shit hitting the fan. Okay, but this is what it's about. And again, this is what you see the majority of our people, those who call themselves Israelites, and even those so-called Christians, all right, they're never talking about these things, never going into prophecy. All right, so therefore what? They're not going to be comforted. All right, they're part of the 2/3. They're part of those who are going to be destroyed with this thermonuclear destruction because they don't know what's coming. They don't even believe a thermonuclear destruction is coming, all right? Which is all throughout the scriptures, okay? But again, the true prophets are out here letting us know how to prepare. How do we prepare? Through getting into these scriptures and getting the correct understanding of these scriptures, okay? So we're stable and comforted in the times to come. But Lord's will, this is edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect and Apal Papa.